Cloud has long been seen as a cost saving move. But in this world of AI and distributed workloads, is that idea still true or it has reached its limits?
Well, it absolutely can be, but you've got to build the right guardrails and take the right approaches that enable that to happen automatically, almost. We see customers when they're successful in this have really bought into things like cloud native. They've designed their applications to move wherever their customers or their end users are. And what they haven't done is take the old paradigm of placing a giant bet on one technology vendor or service and then baking everything around that. And that becomes quite critical for the way they work. When they're successful, they're able to take advantage of multiple services from multiple providers that give them the flexibility and no longer lock them in to any one place or any one service. But it's hard. It's not easy, and it's not always been straightforward. One of the challenges with cloud is it's incredible. I mean, the idea that you have this on tap access to compute, storage, networking, AI is remarkable. And I think sometimes we forget how truly revolutionary it is, but it's the same challenge that I have at home. I buy my son loads of Lego. So I have Lego on every surface, in every room, in every part of my house. There's some in the garden, there's some in the shower because he's 9, but also because there's no incentive for him to tidy it up and keep it clean and make sure he's not just scattering everything everywhere. And because you've got such ubiquitous access to technology, not baking in that go tidy up your room, go put away the Lego before tea time. If those behaviors aren't built in, then that is equally a challenge in making sure that you're doing it in an efficient way. And it does actually work out to be cheaper than historical ways of approaching technology.
You mentioned that cloud can still deliver savings if organizations build the right guardrails. But AI changes the equation from training and inference to GPU placement and data movement. Can you talk about how is AI reshaping the economics of cloud?
That's a really interesting one because there isn't really a paradigm that lets you reflect it on-prem. So AI came about essentially fairly recently, 5-6 years ago. And at which point lots of customers had already really fully invested in going down the cloud route. What has happened over those years is lots of organizations have said, we must do something with AI. We want to change the way we work. We want to revolutionize our product or whatever it happens to be. And they've started to experiment with it. And teams have been given permission to go and build and develop and let their imaginations kind of drive how they improve their businesses. But we're now in a situation where that technology is changing remarkably rapidly. But at a business level, people are going, well, I've spent all this money and I'm not sure I've seen the return I expected on it, based on the promises or the way that we were discussing it. I actually need to get more serious and more controlled about the way that I want to use it. I also don't want to make the same decisions I made previously where I bet the house on one provider, maybe two at a push. I actually need more flexibility. We know that lock-in causes you almost business generational challenges on how you move things in the future. And with AI being such a powerful new technology and way of working, I don't want to do that again. So we're seeing customers really open their approach. They're happy to try different things. They don't want to fix with one hyperscaler, one provider, one service, but have the ability to move that where their business develops and where the technology develops. One provider might be amazing at developing code for their applications, but another might be better at writing prose. Now, you don't want to throw everything in one. You want to make sure that you're putting tasks where they make most sense. And that's from, say, a macro level. As you start to to look at it and break it down into the technology, we're seeing people want to build their workloads much closer to their end users as well. We started to see that in cloud over the last few years, but now agentic, much closer to where the action is happening, makes more sense. If you're trying to coordinate a multi-user, multi-system process that is trying to understand things and make real-time decisions, the closer you are to that decision point, the quicker, the better that decision is ultimately going to make. So hopefully that goes to, it's a broad overview, but hopefully that's starting to narrow down why this is a different way of working.